After college, I got a job as a copywriter, which I hated and quit after about a year to become a freelancer. At which point I thought, like, I've made it. I have my own business, I'm doing something creative. But yeah, within the first year, I realized that I really didn't like it. So I kept trying to change to different careers. And it just felt like year after year, I couldn't figure things out. I was getting more and more tired. I wasn't wanting to hang out with friends. I was just playing video games all the time. Like, I would literally sit in a chair and play video games until my fingers were so tired and achy that I couldn't even move them anymore. So yeah, it was getting really bad. I was like drinking and smoking weed all the time, and it got to the point where I realized that I might not actually want to live anymore because I had this dream of being a writer, but I couldn't figure out how to accomplish it. I was just stuck freelancing, making almost no money, and I had no energy, and I couldn't figure out what the hell was wrong with me. Like, even when I tried to do the things that I thought that I loved, like, they just had no more meaning to me, and I couldn't motivate myself. So yeah, so I started going to like forums on Reddit and like talking to people that were depressed, and I thought that that would make me feel better because that's what you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to talk to people who are going through the same things as you, and it just made me feel worse. And then so my mental state just continued to get worse. So I decided to do therapy for the first time, and I remember going into the office and like having to tell this person that I was having suicidal thoughts and just like stammering and like struggling to even get that sentence out of my mouth. And then like as soon as I did, like my therapist got stressed out, and then that stressed me out even more. And yeah, it was a really dark, extremely dark time in my life. And I was sitting in this room one day, and at this point I had started to have suicidal thoughts like all of the time. It just, in my head, it would be like, kill yourself, kill yourself, kill yourself, all day, like literally hundreds of times per day. And yeah, so in this one particular day, I actually started thinking about how I would kill myself. And I looked over at my ceiling and I saw the hook where my hammock was, and I was visualizing like actually doing it. And then this thought occurred to me, which was that I was lying in bed, and I thought, like, God, it just seems like so much work. I'm going to have to go to Home Depot, and I'm going to have to get some rope, and then I'm going to have to like figure out how to tie the knot so that I can like hang myself. And then I'm going to have to figure out, like, I don't know, how to do something with the stool. And I actually laughed because I was so depressed that I couldn't even get motivated to kill myself. And that, it was just, I don't know, it was such a bizarre moment, because it was like probably the darkest moment in my entire life. And then I had this inspiration of just like goofiness, like, despite how tired I was and how much trauma and stress and just like, I don't know, having my bank account down to $20 constantly that I had gone through, like this little like flower, of like humor came out of that moment. And I've remembered it ever since, because I like, as much as when I've gotten stressed, like the phrase like kill myself or whatever has come up time and time again, like I've never felt any desire whatsoever to kill myself. I've never done anything about it, and I'm certain that I never will, because I think something changed for me in that moment. Like, I realized that life is not such a big deal, and that anytime something goes wrong, there's always a solution. The solution may not be what you think it is, but it's always around the corner or somewhere, there's always a chance. And I think, yeah, if you kill yourself, you're depriving yourself of that chance. Yeah. And so I guess the past few years, the past 10 years, I've lost a lot of people to suicide. I've lost friends. I've lost coworkers. I've lost people that I knew from school, family members. And so at times I've kind of looked at my own life and all the stress that I've gone through, and it's like, why did I survive? You know? And it all go I think it honestly, like, the only thing that I can see that I'm doing different or that I did different than the people that I lost, like even musicians, you know, that I loved that like took their own lives is like I just refused to allow suicide to become serious. You know, I constantly take it unseriously, and in general, I take life unseriously because I think that there's sort of like two modes of thinking. There's like linear mode and then there's non-linear mode. And linear mode is great. Like if you're going in a good direction, you know, like if you've got a plan for life and you're achieving your goals, like that's great. But when something like um, suicidal ideation starts, um, and you're in a linear way of thinking about the world, then it's sort of like everything starts to like narrow until the point where all you can think about is suicide. And then if you engage with more types of linear treatments, like, um, and this is just my personal opinion. Like, let me make that very clear. This may not work for everyone. This is just what works for me. So bear that in mind. But I felt like when I went to a linear type treatment, like a therapist, and then like I was stressed, and then like she was very like, oh, like you're in this emergency situation, so everything has to be like super serious, and like I don't know, it just made things worse for me, you know. And then going to forums where people were also in this like very linear, like I don't know, like here are the drugs that the antidepressant drugs that I've taken, and like I don't know, man. I think for me personally, just having a sense of humor about it and being playful and not allowing things to become too serious was what saved my life. And I don't know, I think it's a useful skill for a lot of things in life, not just suicide, but we tend to get trapped into this, you know, this like closed off, boxed off way of thinking when we get stressed out, and it limits the possibilities that we're able to think about and be open to. So yeah, um, the reasons to live come in all shapes and sizes.